Hello again, welcome back to the channel. Glad you could join me. So we're moving on to the next book in the Vampire Hunter D series, The Stuff of Dreams. We start out with D moving from point A to point B. We don't get a real sense of him, being in a rush to get to his next job or anything like that. It's just he's moving probably from one job to the next job. He's a vampire hunter after all. In the process, he ends up having a dream. And in this dream, everything is bathed in blue light. And there's a chateau. And inside the chateau, there's a party going on. And in this party, there's this woman dancing. She's very beautiful. She's dressed all in white. And he has this dream. And he even gets attacked in this dream by a shadowy figure that fires arrows at him. And he ends up going to the next town. And in this next town, he finds out that he's not the only one who has had dreams. Everyone in town has had dreams about D showing up. In fact, everyone in the town has dreamed of D. And they all dreamed a specific way to feel about D. Fear, anger. They're afraid of D. They're angry at him even coming to town. All except one person. One person is curious. That person is Nan. She actually dreamed about D for 3 nights prior to everyone else in the town having this dream. And she's trying to figure out why on earth would she dream about D before anybody else. So he gets to town and he finds out that this town, at one point in the past, they had peaceful relations with the nobility. They got along. They were great neighbors. Nobody, they weren't finding people getting bit and being drained of their blood. They weren't being turned. They got along really well with the nobility. He also finds out that there's one young girl in town. Her name is Sybil Schmitz. And Sybil has been in the hospital for the past 30 years. She's been asleep. She was bitten by one of the nobility. And in this particular world, if you are bitten by a noble, there are 3 options. One is you can be turned, become a noble yourself. The other is you die. And the third is you sleep. If you don't go through the full complete process to be turned into a noble, you basically sleep until that noble is killed. Actually, there's kind of a fourth. You can somewhat act day to day. You retain consciousness. You can wake up, but you still suffer the effects of being bitten by the noble until that noble is killed. Now, D shows up in town, and it's obvious that D was brought to the town because of the dream. And the dream, it's most likely Sybil's dream. Sybil's the only one in town who was bitten by a noble and is still asleep. Everybody else is awake and has no signs that they were compromised by the nobility. So D was brought to town for a specific purpose. He just doesn't know what it is. The townsfolk all hate him. He immediately runs into trouble with the Vigilance Committee. And the Vigilance Committee, his name is Clements, head of the Vigilance Committee. He immediately takes issue with D and is stopped by the sheriff. The sheriff basically forces him to back down. And you find out that the sheriff is highly competent, highly able individual that has been protecting the town for the past basically 30 years that Sybil has been sleeping. In this particular book, as I've said in the past, you can see that the translator is getting his feet under him, and those awkward phrasing and transitions that were in previous books are starting to smooth out, and the process is getting better and better as we move forward. So there's that. And as I've said, D tends to be very unchanging from book to book, but we do get more glimpses into his character. D would leave this town. He actually tries at one point to leave the town and finds out that something is keeping him in the town. And he at one point experiments with breaking free of the confines of the town and is once again stopped from leaving the town. So there's something about the situation that keeps D in the town. And from my interpretation, it's not that D won't help or doesn't want to help. It's if he's not given a specific reason. If somebody doesn't come to him and say, help me because of X, he's not going to. And you kind of see this in the other books. D will help people, but usually he wants them to say to him, I need your help, or something of that nature. Or there has to be an attack directly against him for him to act on his, I shouldn't say better nature, but to exhibit that care that he hides behind his facade. The sheriff is an interesting character. I like him. He has a thing against D because he's the sheriff. He feels that he should be able to protect the town, and D showing up as a vampire hunter, he feels is kind of a slight against him. He's like, I should be enough. I've been protecting this town for the past 30 years and I've got the scars to prove it. In fact, D does question him on the scars. Not necessarily questioning the veracity of what he has done, but saying, normal people with that amount of damage would have died. Why are you still around, kind of thing. Implying not that there's any slight against the sheriff, nothing of that nature, but implying that there's something more going on here than the townspeople or anyone suspects is going on. Again, it is an enjoyable it's an enjoyable story, straightforward, very short. I shouldn't say very short. It's less than 200 pages. I looked it up. It's 172 pages. So, I think I finished this in maybe 2 days, started it one day. And if I'd had a whole day to just spend on it, I probably would have finished it in one day. But it ended up taking about 2 days to finish. So these are fun novels. They're light on the they're heavy on the action, heavy on the descriptions of Dee's stoicism and beauty, but light on the other matters that tend to make novels weighty. So if you're looking for something of that nature, especially if it's in the fantasy sci-fi genre more than the horror genre, you might want to give some of these books a try. Especially if you're into, Japanese culture, anime, manga, that kind of stuff. It very much feels like you're reading a manga or something like that. That's it for today. Like, share, subscribe, comment down below, and until next time, enjoy what you're reading.